I'm going to read somebody's letter to the editor that made me afraid for my life, which is not the one that said that Adrienne Floreen and her boyfriend should die in unspeakable ways, but one that's even worse. Because it confirms, things I've been telling you for years about how dangerous our local hospitals are to people with medical conditions, including and especially food allergies, which is in this North Coast Journal, which is published once a week, both in print and online, by a so-called independent liberal news agency in Humboldt County, California, that is completely a false and a farce, and most likely sponsored by pharmaceutical industries who they have regularly promoted, including promoting the pharmaceutical industry's push to fluoridate our water, or promoting the current pharmaceutical industry's push to make us take something I can't mention on YouTube because they're also sponsored or work with or sponsor that same industry. Everyone's in cahoots. What's the reason they say let's take off when they don't mean like a bird and fly? What's the reason they say war broke out? Not that somebody started a war, and why? Hi people, I am going to read you a letter to the editor that was published by the North Coast Journal. It is not my letter to the editor, nor is it the responses to it which said that Adrienne Floreen and her boyfriend should die in ways I cannot mention on my channel. I am also not going to show you their political cartoons, for the same reason that I cannot show you Charlotte's political cartoons. They're so offensive that I could get in trouble for showing them to you on YouTube. So, with that said, I'm going to read somebody's letter to the editor that made me afraid for my life, which is not the one that said that Adrienne Floreen and her boyfriend should die in unspeakable ways, but one that's even worse. Because it confirms, things I've been telling you for years about how dangerous our local hospitals are to people with medical conditions, including and especially food allergies, which is in this North Coast Journal, which is published once a week, both in print and online, by a so-called independent liberal news agency in Humboldt County, California, that is completely a false and a farce, and most likely sponsored by pharmaceutical industries who they have regularly promoted, including promoting the pharmaceutical industry's push to fluoridate our water, or promoting the current pharmaceutical industry's push to make us take something I can't mention on YouTube because they're also sponsored or work with or sponsor that same industry. Everyone's in cahoots.
What we're watching. Take a guess what we're watching.
I don't dare.
It's Family Guy.
Your shirt's on backwards.
I don't care!
Well, you should care, because come over here and show me what it says. It's actually on backwards and inside out. Do I stress you out? Oh no, it's horrible what it says when it's backwards and inside out. That's what it says. Now, go off camera, turn it inside out, and put it on forwards, and show us what it really says right now.
Meow!
Alright, show us what your shirt really says on the front. Come on. Come over here. They can't see you because I'm filming myself on selfie mode. You have to be next to me.
Meow!
It's actually a cat shirt.
It's a giant cat. And I'm embarrassed. Wait a minute. We're not recording this, right?
Yes, we are. Why are you embarrassed? Well, that was an appropriate shirt for Eugene to run out wearing as I was recording this video. The purring sound you may hear in the background is Margot purring as she rubs on my feet. If you didn't hear it, well, wait for it. Hang on 1 second. Here is Margot purring, and that was one real true second that went by. This will be an important thing to remember later. That 1 second lasts 1 second, and that 1 minute lasts 60 of those 1 seconds, and so on and so forth. Like the words we use to define time actually have real meanings and are meant to be accurate descriptions of the passage of time. So I would like to preface my reading of this article by stating that I also wrote a letter to the editor of the North Coast Journal that would have been published the same week that this letter I am about to read to you, written by somebody else, was published, if not for the fact that no local liberal independent news agency is willing to print that I am running for office, especially not the North Coast Journal, who, when years ago I ran for the Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District Board, published an article called "Waterboarding is not for wonks anymore," insinuating that I was the wonk running for the boring Humboldt County Water Board. With that said, I am now going to read to you almost universally terrible. Editor, I recently spent 4 days in the ICU at St. Joseph's Hospital, where the nursing staff were all one dasher full. But the food...
this video for a science program.
No, you're not interrupting this video for a science program. You're going back to your room while I record this video.
Recording a video. Sorry.
I am recording a video that I don't want interrupted. Now go back into your room. When I hear the door close, I will keep speaking. As I was saying, where the nursing staff were all one dasher full, but the food was almost universally terrible. In parentheses, end quotes, a week in the hospital, January 20th. I can only think that those responsible for feeding ICU patients are not used to said patients being alert enough to comment on the food. Several times during admission, I in-dashed formed what is with the separating words by dashes to make it fit in this convoluted waveform paragraph, folks, that I did not eat meat and was allergic to tomatoes and pomegranate. So I was surprised to find that my first meal after surgery was an omelet with sausage. My rejection of said sausage resulted in a designation of vegan, where it stayed despite visits from dietitians. So there was no egg, cheese, milk, yogurt, or butter. No comma between yogurt and or space or butter, to be seen for the next 4 days. Pomegranate and tomato allergy somehow translated into an allergy to all fruit. My lunch that day consisted of a scoop of unseasoned mashed potato. Unseasoned mashed potato, like they mashed up one potato and didn't season it, accompanied by unseasoned steamed carrots and broccoli. And it was pretty much downhill from there. The lack of salt and other seasonings meant that most food was tasteless, but confused dashingly extra syrup and sugar were on offer, along with margarine, non-dairy creamer, and some strange chemical cocktail in a Nestle sachet, which I did not dare open. The nurses' generosity saved me. They slipped me a snack pack containing fresh blueberries, real yogurt, a muffin, and a hard-boiled egg, the greatest feast of all time. Every meal was accompanied by a nutritional breakdown, but for food to be part of the healing process, it needs to be something patients want to eat. I leave the final word to a friend who was discharged shortly after I was. My surgeon told me the final determining factor in letting me go was that she could no longer subject me to their food. Oh, people, this hospital would kill me. And Mad River Hospital almost killed me after I gave birth to Evelyn by doing the exact same thing to me. Like, I am not only allergic to numerous medications, but allergic to numerous foods. So when I told them what my food allergies were, when they asked me what my allergies were, they didn't want to write them down in my list of allergies. Because when they write down your list of allergies, when you check into a California hospital, it's a list of the medications, not the foods you're allergic to. This completely disregards the fact that medications can contain food allergens. Like, that pill they're giving you could contain gluten if you're allergic to gluten, or cornstarch
You don't eat it.
if you're allergic to corn.
Yeah.
And you might think that if you tell them you're allergic to corn when you go into the hospital, they're not going to give you something in an IV or something in a pill that contains corn. No, they're going to completely disregard the fact that that pill or that IV could contain something that could make you go into anaphylactic shock if your corn allergy is that severe. And they're also going to treat you like you're an insane person if you object to being given said pill or said IV. If they do actually try to find out if your allergen is in that pill or the IV, they're going to find out that they're going to have to spend 6 hours on the phone with a pharmaceutical corporation to find out that information. And then they're going to tell you they're very sorry, they can't spend that time doing that. And then they're going to offer you another medication, and you're going to say, well, does it contain one of my allergens? Causing a loop-de-loo situation where they can never give you a medication because they have nothing in their computer system that connects your food allergies registered in their computer system to food allergens contained in medications. So every single request of, does the medication contain one of my food allergens, will result in some absurd length of time a human being has to spend on the phone. And what if you're going to die if you don't get given a medication right away? So not being able to be properly fed by a hospital is like one of my least concern as a person with severe food allergies. But on that note, I'd like to rant about what would happen if I didn't get properly fed, because I have some weird, undiagnosed blood clotting disorder, which makes me seemingly and controversially simultaneously prone to bleeding heavily and almost bleeding to death if I have my period surgery or any little cut, but also prone to getting blood clots, which could also kill me. This means that I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of unpaid medical bills for co-payments for all kinds of weird random blood tests, trying to figure out what kind of blood clotting disorder
You are unvaccinated.
that I have. And doctors can't figure it out, but they've tried to offer me things like warfarin. And I've responded by saying, well, how do you know it's not going to thin my blood so much that I bleed to death when I get a big cut or even a small cut? And what medication will you give me if you don't know what I have in the first place that is causing me to have these problems? Simultaneously, I also most likely have mitral valve prolapse in my heart, which has been diagnosed based on me having a heart monitor put on my heart, glued to my chest for weeks, that made me unable to shower, where at all times of the day and night, at any given moment, when I felt my heart doing something weird, I had to press a button on my chest and write down in a little notebook, which I sent to the doctors, which they sent with my heart monitor to a corporation that said they saw nothing wrong. So, like, when I laid on my back and my heart went boom, 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 and I felt like these booms were going to, like, cause a heart attack and kill me, and I laid on my left side. And my heart went boom, 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 and started booming so fast I thought I was going to die of a heart attack from lying on my left side. So I rotated to my right side, and my heart went boom, 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 boom. And I thought I was going to die of heart failure when my heart stopped. And I finally found this, like, perfect position where I was kind of, like, convolutedly laying, like, somewhat to my left, but my legs somewhat to the right. And every single time I moved position, I took the opportunity to actually, while thinking I was dying, press a little button and write down some little notebook that something was happening in my heart. They did not detect anything wrong. When I wake up in the morning, every single morning, as I have for the last literal years, and I wake up like, and my boyfriend says, "Good morning, Adrienne," and I say, I'm gasping, I'm trying to wake, I'm going through my gasping waking process. Well, first of all, when I pressed that button on the heart monitor, even though I felt like I was literally, like, dying of my heart racing so fast, I couldn't even, like, differentiate between the beats. It wasn't like beat, beat, beat. It was like, kind of like, blah, 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 blah. The heart monitor did not detect anything abnormal, but worse than that, after going to doctors for years and trying to determine what causes these symptoms, all I can do is go every morning and spend like 3 hours waking up as my breathing rate slowly gets slower and my heart rate slowly gets slower, and I lose like the first 3 to 5 hours of my day to waking. The waking process, which for me means going from hyperventilating with my heart racing a mile a minute to being able to be the normal, walking, talking, speaking human that you see in my videos. Now, what would happen to me if this happened to me in a hospital? Because I've had friends come over and see me, like, shaking and hyperventilating and waking up and saying I'm going through my, like, shaking, waking process, who thought that they could cure me, like, by pouring a shot of vodka into my coffee and not telling me about it, because they thought I was having delirium tremens. I've had people tell me that all I need to do is take a few deep breaths and calm down, because they thought I was, like, having some kind of panic attack. Okay, this is caused neither by a panic attack nor by delirium tremens. I wish that taking a shot of vodka or taking a deep breath or a little bit of my friend's Xanax or whatever the hell else they offered me would make this stop, but no, it doesn't. That's why I spent a gazillion bucks on, like, the best health insurance I could afford that still had co-payments that caused me to get a gazillion bucks of bills that I can't afford. And I still do not know what's wrong with me. I can only give you my best guess. There is something wrong with my heart. I most likely have some kind of blood clotting disorder, most likely too, and then there's all these food allergies. Okay, to make a long story short, if I went to a local hospital, they would kill me. If they did not kill me, they would treat my physical conditions and my reactions to them as though I was having a mental illness. Like, yeah, if I wake up going like and can't breathe slower and my heart's going blah, 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 that's going to make me panic. But that doesn't mean that it's caused by a panic attack or that I'm having a panic attack. Like, if you woke up and you were breathing that fast and your heart rate was going that fast and you couldn't do anything and you couldn't even, like, lift your head like an inch off the pillow and you felt like you were dying and, oh, by the way, had a medical history of having thousands of dollars of tests and were thousands of dollars in debt from trying to get doctors to figure out what was causing that and they couldn't, and then you had to go to the hospital for like something completely unrelated to that, and then you woke up like that and the doctors were all freaking out, wouldn't you panic? Like, of course you would. One of the times I went to a local hospital, they accidentally presumed that my physical symptoms were caused by a mental illness. And they injected me with an antipsychotic drug, and I woke up in a padded room. And that antipsychotic drug made me unable to speak clearly for more than 6 months.
That's bad.
Of course that's bad, and of course I'm terrified. Then if I even, broke my finger, they might kill me. I'm not going to mention, because Eugene has walked out in the room, what happened when I drank a few glasses of wine while I was having an abnormally heavy period a few months ago. You can hear me rant about it.
7 months ago.
He might be right, I'm not sure. It might have been a little less than that, but he might be right. But you can hear me rant about it in my video about that. I'm not going to repeat what happened in this video because it's just not child appropriate and my child is now in the room. Go kids!
I just wanted to drink. I was looking for a drink.
There is a drink. There's lemon waters. If you want something better than a lemon water, I think we have some soda.
I'll put some soda. And some water too in the cup.
Just take a lemon water in a bottle.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to pour it in a cup because it's plastic cups and we have plastic bottles.
No, I was just talking about normal water.
Like normal tap water? Okay, use the glass cup, the blue one.
What blue? This
The
one?
blue one, yeah, that one. The one that's
It's
in
a
there for
big
days.
jar. It's a big jar.
It's a big jar. You can have a big jar of water. You don't have to fill it all the way.
Yeah, plus
You can have a small jar of water or a partially filled big jar,
that's about a quarter.
We try to be very clear in this house
What? Maybe I need more than a quarter.
about persons and time, which is one more thing I have to mention. I have had severe issues with doctors and nurses
Quarter.
and also friends and roommates.
How much water is this?
It looks like somewhere between a third and a half of the jar. Maybe about 40%.
Or 50.
No, 50 would be half. Close your door. Lying to me about time. Okay, as I said earlier, a second is one banana. 60 seconds is one banana, two banana, up to 60. I started saying banana because people that I got upset accusing of not being honest with me about how long things were going to take said I was cutting 1, 2, 3, not one banana, two banana. So I was expecting them to do things sooner than they said they were going to do, but that's not true. I've tried with bananas included. People lie to you about time. 1 second does not mean 1 second. 1 minute does not mean 61 seconds, and so on and so forth. And I am very, very sensitive to this. I like people to be honest to me about time, especially if I'm in a situation where there's a painful IV in my arm and the feeling of a needle being in my vein makes me clench my teeth and panic to almost near hysteria and my heart starts to race. And all I can think about is wanting it out. All I can think about is wanting it out. And they say, okay, it will only be 1 minute. And I say, do you mean 1 minute? And they say, yes, 1 minute. I say, 1 minute, 60 seconds, that's right. And he says, yes, 1 minute. And he leaves the room. And 5 minutes later, it's still in there. And I'm still hurting. And I'm still panicking. And I scream. And I bang on the door. And some angry nurse comes in and says, We told you it was going to be 1 minute. Can't you just be patient? Do you need us to come in here and inject you with some kind of sedative or something? Because if we do that, it'll be in your jugular vein in your neck and it is going to hurt. And I'm like, but they said it was going to be 1 minute, like 1 real minute, like one 60-second 1 minute. Look, nobody who works in a hospital wants the likes of me checked into the hospital for the night. They wouldn't be able to feed me. They wouldn't be able to medicate me. They wouldn't be able to talk to me. They would likely either kill me or I'd end up in like a padded room with some bullshit, abject nonsense court order saying she went psychotic when I really only asked them to be honest about time or to not give me food I was allergic to. And by the way, what would happen if the food was like choking texture in my throat? I have a real issue with texture of certain foods, and even if it's something like completely gluten-free, I have a real issue with a lot of like so-called gluten-free breads and stuff because they have all these thickeners in them that make it feel thicker and it feels like it's choking or gagging. I also can't eat things like al dente rice or noodles. They burned the back of my throat when they set my face and my mouth and my tongue and my throat on fire while I was unconscious, while I was having a dental surgery. And by the way, on that note, you want to sedate me? I want it videotaped. If they told me they wanted to sedate me to do an emergency surgery, I would say, cool, who's going to hold the camera? If they said they can't do that, I would say, transfer me to another hospital. If they said, you're going to die without this surgery unless you consent to doing it without being videotaped, I would say, call my goddamn fucking lawyer right now. Yeah, if I get put unconscious, I want to know that. Well, they're not going to say, we're going to pull your wisdom teeth. And I'm not going to wake up with them saying, oh yeah, your teeth got pulled pretty well, but your mouth, face, tongue, and throat got set on fire and there's black and charred spots all over them that disabled you for life. And you'll never be able to get compensated and never be able to know what happened and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, a hospital who couldn't feed someone allergic to tomatoes who didn't eat meat absolutely wouldn't be able to feed me. A hospital that couldn't provide a skin cream without spending 6 hours on the phone or refusing to do so with corn oil in it when I told them I was allergic to corn would most likely not be able to medicate me. They wouldn't be able to feed me. They wouldn't be able to medicate me. They wouldn't even be able to deal with having a 1-second conversation with me. Confirmed with evidence and videos I have made for years. If I get any kind of serious illness or injury, unless it's going to be like 5 seconds until I die, take me to a hospital outside of Humboldt County, California, outside of California completely. Or they'll kill me. Or torture me in the process of killing me. And if they don't torture me and kill me to death, I will be lucky if I survive and permanently disabled for life, and I will definitely be enraged and ranting about it on YouTube like I am about the dentist who mysteriously set my face on fire 20 years ago. And that is what I have to say in response to the North Coast Journal publishing Pat Bitton from Eureka, California's letter instead of my letter saying I'm running for office in Humboldt County, California. Because the very first time I spoke out at Humboldt County Board of Supervisors public meeting, before I even ever considered running for office, I spoke out against their bill to provide more funding to Semper Virens, the Eureka Mental Hospital named after Semper Virens Sequoia, which is where the padded room I woke up in was contained. After a person named Joe Mafia, an ambulance driver, forcibly dragged me there while like strangling me and like suffocating my wrist with some kind of like restraints and stuff, saying that the hospital had not believed I had a migraine and thought I was on speed and had me committed for going to the hospital for a migraine, which happened at Mad River Hospital in Arcata, California. So I would like to take this opportunity to give the proverbial middle finger to Joe Mafia, Mad River Hospital, and whatever idiotic doctor didn't believe I had a migraine and acted like I was on meth. Like, yeah, they tested my blood. They determined there were no drugs in my system other than marijuana. They said they had to hold me there for 3 days because the antipsychotics they gave me would take 3 days to wear off. That was why it took like 6 months. I had to drop out of a whole semester of college too late to officially drop out and accept Fs for all my classes. But yeah, they did apologize to me. But it still totally fucked up my life. And the doctor I went to after that said some of those antipsychotics they gave me were doses for like a 600-pound man. And it could have caused permanent neurological damage. Perhaps they should have tested my blood for drugs to see if I was on them before committing me to a mental hospital accusing me of being on drugs because of the previously mentioned heart conditions and blood clotting conditions. I cannot and have never taken any kind of amphetamine stronger than like caffeine or nicotine mean. Never taken speed, never taken methamphetamines of any kind, never taken cocaine, never even taken mescaline, ever in my entire life, and I never will, because you know what, it would kill me. Can this be put in some kind of permanent record so no doctor ever does this to me again? I can't even continue this rant. I don't know what else to say. I'm sure I will think of something later, but for now I'm just done. I'm ending this rant. If this is not enough information, or even TMI, then I do not know what will convince you. If I, or someone, even a teeny little bit, percentage, as sensitive or sick as me, goes to a local hospital in Humboldt County, California for any serious illness, the hospital will starve them, abuse them, and kill them. Like this video, share this video, watch my other videos, subscribe to my channels, and comment on every single video that I've ever made in my entire life before they go away. Bye, people. What's the reason they say let's take off when they don't mean like a bird and fly? What's the reason they say war broke out? Not that somebody started a war, and why?